This is the Alden Report.
Today's episode is brought to you in part by Wicked Happy. The way you live your life depends on your outlook, and theirs is simple. Be Wicked Happy. Wicked Happy provides you with apparel to make you smile. So if you want to be wicked happy and you want to look wicked cool, then visit wickedhappy.com, and at checkout, enter in the code RADIO for an additional 15% off your entire order. Again, visit wickedhappy.com, apparel to make you smile.
This is the Alden Report.
All right. Well, my name is Mike Alden. We are here in Blue Vase Studios. Super excited for my next guest. Now, if you follow me on Instagram, which is at Mike Alden 2012, just recently I posted a video of me that, quite frankly, didn't really put me in the best light. In fact, my daughter begged me to take it down. My mom was like, "What are you doing?" And what I did was I showed people kind of my experience with Invisalign and my recent adventure with that. My next guest is she is just an amazing entrepreneur. She has a great background, but she's also an orthodontist that really understands what I went through. And it's just kind of funny because we were just talking before we went live. Be honest with you, I didn't look at her background before I had posted that. And so when I was looking at all this stuff, I'm like, no way, this is going to be awesome. So look, if you've had braces, if you've had Invisalign, if you've thought about Smile Direct, if you've thought about some of these other ones, if maybe you're seeing these ads on television and you're like, I don't know, can I do this? Does it make sense for me? Well, again, my next guest is a Harvard trained orthodontist. She has an amazing experience. She also has a company. She's raised millions of dollars for a company. So she's doing all sorts of great things. I'm super excited to have her. Please help me welcome Dr. Ingrid Mirra. Dr. Mirra, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. This is so exciting.
Well, not really, right? But I guess the exciting part was when I told you, hey, take a look at my Instagram and take a look at this video that I just posted. So, let me just back up for a second and talk a little bit about the journey of getting there. I'm an attorney by trade. I went to law school nights. So I got, 8 years, in with, college and then, law school. You have a little bit more than that. Talk about that journey, because I was reading an article that you were in and you were talking about, the commitment that it takes to get there. I'd love to just hear a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's a pretty wild set of experiences to become an orthodontist in this modern world where you don't even need to go to college to start an incredible business because everything is on Google. So to summarize, I decided to become an orthodontist when I was 8. I had my own incredible experience. I realized that orthodontics can just change.
All right, I'm gonna cut you off right away. Right out of the gate, you're like, this guy's cut me off at 8.
Yeah.
At 8, you decided? Yeah. How do you even know what an orthodontist is at 8?
Because I had treatment myself, and it totally changed me as a person. I was insecure as an 8-year-old because I had crazy teeth. And so I went through 4 years of braces and just emerged as hyper confident person who's smiling all the time. And I realized this is what I want to do for people. I want to give people the power to smile whenever they want.
That makes a lot of sense. You hear a lot of, I was just talking to someone else about the entrepreneurial journey and, going through pain and trauma and using that to kind of your advantage. It's funny. I became a lawyer. It's funny when you said in 2nd grade, I wrote down, they ask you, what do you want to be? It's usually fireman, police officer, whatever. And I wrote down lawyer. I don't even think I knew what it was, but I think I kind of did. But because the way I grew up, I just saw the criminal justice system and how screwed up it was. And maybe that's why I wanted it as well. It's really interesting, those things that have an impact. But for you, it was, it was how you looked, and that, like you said, so you get orthodontics and it just changed your outlook on life, right?
Exactly. And then to answer your other question, yeah, it was 11 years of higher education, 4 years college, 4 years of dental school, and 3 years of orthodontic residency. So it's not a short journey.
Talk a little bit about, I don't think people understand the residency thing. So you go through 4 years of college. I think you went to, where'd you go to undergrad?
I went to Vanderbilt,
Vanderbilt, and then NYU, right?
Then NYU for dental school. Yep.
Yeah. And then you did your residency at Harvard.
Yep.
Okay. What does the last part mean? Like, what does that mean? You do, like, you hear it like with doctors too. Like, what does that mean? You did your residency with Harvard. I don't even understand it, to be honest.
Yeah. And this is actually the reason people don't know a lot about dental health. And like, this is like the way that this is blown up in society now is that now people think that you can straighten your teeth in the mail. But it actually starts with how do you straighten your teeth? What does that even mean? Like, what do you need to know to straighten your teeth? What does it mean to go to a dentist? What does it mean to go to an orthodontist? So to back up a little bit, you go to 4 years of dental school to basically become a professional dentist. You get your degree in dentistry. Your literal degree is your doctorate of dental surgery. You become a master in drilling and filling. You become a master in diagnosis of dental health and preventive dental health. And then you learn cursory knowledge of all the expertise, of all the expert fields. There's 9 specialties in dentistry, ranging from orthodontics to oral surgery to endodontics to, periodontics. And this all means different things. As a dentist, you are basically able to treat very basic procedures, and anything more complex, you refer out to a specialist.
Okay. All right. There's a lot there. And so you said, when you were young that you just knew you wanted to be an orthodontist. And so again, just to recap, the track is dentist first, and then you kind of veer off a little bit into focusing into orthodontics.
Yep. So I went into dental school knowing they wanted to be an orthodontist, but to become an orthodontist, you got to become a dentist first. Just like, if you're a dermatologist, you become a general practitioner first, and then you specialize in dermatology. Okay.
All right. I just, the commitment level is just remarkable. And congratulations to you because, I have friends that are doctors and, going to law school, taking the bar exam, doing all that stuff was hard, but you do all that stuff. And then you have to do like another 4 years where you're still you're essentially poor. And I was looking at some of the statistics that you would put on your website. When you come out of school, you could be upwards to almost $1 million in debt, huh?
Yeah. Most of my friends were graduating with $700,000 to $1 million of student debt. You graduate from dental school nowadays from NYU with about $710,000 of student debt. That's just general dentistry. And in New York City, when you're a graduating dentist, you make on average $89,000 as a dental associate.
Okay, so I graduated with $150,000 in debt, and I'm like, wow, I thought that was a lot. And by the way, I borrowed more than I probably should have anyway. That is just a daunting number. Is that also similar to what traditional like MDs graduate with, or is there a disparity there with dental school?
No. MDs are graduating, I think, don't quote me, but I think it's an average of 150,000. A big reason why is because residency in dental school, most of the time you're actually paying for residency as opposed to in medical residency where you get paid, even though it's small, somewhere between 50 to 60,000, you're still getting paid. Whereas in residency for dental school, you're actually going into more debt.
Wow, that's nuts to me. All right, let's jump into some of the stuff that you're doing now. So, as we talked about, so I had braces when I was a kid. Fortunately, it was covered, I think, through I think it was like Medicare or Medicaid. I forget exactly because I grew up poor, so that was covered. But then I had them put on again when I was in law school at 28. I'm now 46. My bottom tooth down here, again, if you go to my Instagram, people can see it. One of my bottom teeth was moving backwards, and there was nothing I could do about it because the last set of braces I had put on, the guy didn't give me a retainer, or I don't know what you call it, like some sort of bridge in the back there, or what have you, to prevent it from going backwards. And I started to get some recession in my gum line, and then it was just causing pain. So that's me. Smile Direct. I'm a marketer. I as soon as I, kind of inquired, they're retargeting me. They're also targeting me on television. People don't realize that they can do that. They're targeting me on Instagram, Facebook, everywhere. And it took me a while, but I finally did it. I did the Smile Direct. And, it's interesting. I was reading one of your recent posts on your personal Instagram about the things that they make you sign if you decide you cancel. And that happened with me. It didn't work for me. Talk a little bit about the proliferation of these companies now that are just popping up all over the place, and the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah, that's a loaded question. Excuse me. So
I didn't say it was going to be easy on here. This is the Alden Report.
People ask me why I would go through 20 years of, essentially war to become an orthodontist, only to not actually practice orthodontics. And I'll try to keep it short. When I got into my ortho residency, it was 2015. The first mail order liner company launched, staying, I'm not going to drop names. I was sitting there learning how orthodontics worked. How do you actually move teeth? The foundation of what you learn as an orthodontist is called biomechanics, like how to actually move teeth, which is not too dissimilar from like the mechanics that you learn to build bridges. It involves moments and torques and forces. Once you learn that foundational knowledge of biomechanics, you then learn how to move teeth using materials, whether it's metal, which is braces, or plastic, which is clear aligners. The biggest plastic company of clear aligners being Invisalign. So I learned during that time, first of all, how to move teeth. At the same time, I was watching these companies grow, these mail order liner companies, or these companies where you can move teeth with plastic, not done by an orthodontist. Like, keep in mind, I'm a dentist first. And I was like, wait, what? So this is marketing. Marketing is, yeah.
Can I ask you what you mean by not done by an orthodontist? Because I think I already mentioned the name, but I'll try not to mention it again, I guess. Just, one of the first mail order ones that I did use, I'm pretty sure there was a dentist tied to it, but not an orthodontist. Is that accurate? Is that what's going on?
So for mail order liner companies, there's actually no dentist tied to it. Your teeth are being moved by a technician, likely in Eastern Europe. And just to kind of summarize, the way that clear aligners work, it's this incredible technology. It's a 3-part technology. One, you take a scan of your teeth, or putty, but you're going to have more accurate aligners if you take a scan. 2, there's software that's used to move your teeth. Now, someone is moving those teeth, those digital teeth, using that software. If you're doing mail order aligner companies, what's basically happening is the technicians are dictating how to move your teeth. These are like 18-year-olds, graduates from high school sometimes, who don't know anything about dentistry or health or your oral health, or most importantly, like how to move teeth. Because I think the biggest misconception is that there's AI moving your teeth, but it's not. Those are humans. When you get a product like Invisalign, there is a dentist tied to it, but anyone with a DDS degree can move teeth using Invisalign. Now, like I said before, there's 9 different specialties. You can be an oral surgeon, you can be a prosthodontist, you can be a gum specialist, and you can use Invisalign's product to move teeth. The way that you are going to get accurate, healthy results in a short amount of time, because obviously if you're going to wear aligners and you can get your teeth straightened in 6 months versus 4 years, you're going to choose 6 months, right? The way that you do that is by having your teeth moved by an orthodontist. And so that's the part that really matters. Is step 2 when the orthodontist comes in. And of course, step 3 is you 3D print the aligners based on the digital treatment plan that are created in step 2. And so for mail order aligner companies, there's no dental oversight. For Invisalign, there is dental oversight, but you're not guaranteed a specialist. And that's where we come in.
Okay. So interesting. So my last journey with my teeth was in fact with Invisalign, and it actually reminded me of braces, really, to be honest with you. I mean, they put the little things on. I don't even know those things are on there. And I did actually every couple of weeks, maybe every month, I forget exactly, go in and I had an orthodontist, manipulate and do some stuff. There was also some filing that I wasn't even aware of that was happening to my teeth that kind of worried me a little bit, but they assured me that it was fine. And then ultimately, Yeah, people can see now. It did go back, and the recession actually, my gums actually essentially kind of healed itself as well. Your company, my2front.com, right? Is that the right? Your mission is to democratize the dental, the orthodontics, and more specifically the Invisalign type, for not only the consumers but also for orthodontists themselves as well. Are you a proponent of one over the other? Because I've heard you talk about Invisalign. We're talking about Invisalign now, or is it just the overall general practice of orthodontics using these clear type apparatuses?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So I tell people Invisalign is a tool. It's this
Okay.
amazing tool to straighten teeth, but who is using that tool? Just like you can have like all the freshest ingredients in the world, but you can have a chef and then you can have someone who doesn't know how to cook using those ingredients. Same thing with art. You can have the best acrylic, you can have the best paint, you can have the best canvas, but do you have an artist or do you have someone who doesn't know how to make art? It's very much a specialty. So you need someone who knows how to use this tool to get you results. And that is an orthodontist.
That makes sense. Yeah, it's funny you say that too. When you think about art, I collect art. I'm a big fan of artists, and then when you think about kind of like cosmetic surgeons, they are essentially artists as well that are trained in the underlying kind of practice.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if we answered the question or not. So are you a proponent of Invisalign, the company itself, or is it just more the process if it's done right?
If Invisalign is used by an orthodontist, then you are essentially getting the highest quality care when it comes to straightening your teeth.
Okay. All right. That makes sense.
So yes, like as orthodontists, we can now, and this applies to most orthodontists who are graduating nowadays, in traditional medicine, like you typically look for someone with gray hair, right? You're like, okay, I want someone who has 30, 40 years of experience. But the thing is, Invisalign as a technology has only been around for 20 years, and it's only gotten better and better recently. It is only within the past 5 years that young orthodontists now, and some older orthodontists who have had the experience, it really varies in terms of like how you actually approach your practice. But a lot of orthodontists now can treat all typical braces cases with Invisalign, and even better sometimes. There's more control to it. And so, as a specialty, orthodontists, like there's a lot of reasons why we use braces over Invisalign, but most of them are not tied to patient care. It's because Invisalign is 10 times more expensive than braces. It's because it's very hard to market yourself as an orthodontist who specializes in Invisalign when so many people think that you actually don't need an orthodontist for clear aligners anymore, because these companies, these mail order liner companies, advertise that you don't need one. And as you know, as a marketer, marketing goes a long way. People believe marketing like it's gospel. And that is not, that those venture-backed companies, they're not pouring money into R&D. They're pouring money into copy, into branding, into calls to action, into retargeting. They haven't necessarily done the research to figure out if this is actually the case. And that's why a lot of orthodontists will stick to braces for the sake of keeping, paying their rent.
Right. So, you'd mentioned venture-backed companies. You raised, I believe, over $5 million for your company. Talk a little bit about that process, what that was like, because I'm guessing you probably weren't taught how to raise money in dental school.
Yeah, that's right. I was literally just mission focused on being the best orthodontist I could possibly be for the longest time. But when Smile Direct Club launched, oh, my bad. When Smile Direct Club launched, I basically realized that the world as it is not fully meritocratic. Meritocratic, is that a word?
I don't know. It sounds like a word. I mean, listen, you're the one who went to Harvard, not me. Yeah.
It wasn't fully a meritocracy the way that I had thought. It wasn't just you work hard, you become a professional, you launch your practice, patients will come because you're a good doctor. I realized when there's venture dollars in the world and that are basically trying to push professionals out, that wins. Like, and so that's when I first realized, okay, I need to do something about this. I had no idea what to do. Google was my best friend. I moved to New York. I practiced as an orthodontist for a couple of years. And I really just dove into what it takes to start a business, what it takes to start a big business. I listened to all the podcasts. I read all the books, 0 to 1, venture deals, all the kind of like traditional books. We raised an initial round of funding of 1.3 million back at the end of 2019. It was basically business school in a box for 2 years, made every mistake, failed fast and hard, with hiring, with, building a financial model, all these things I had no idea what to do. And now recently we just raised another 3.5 million after realizing how we're going to solve this problem for orthodontists, for dentists, and for patients. And now we've basically spent the past month hitting the ground running, building our team, and we're live in 10 dental offices in LA right now.
So how do we solve the problem? How is My Two Fronts solving the problem?
Yeah. So we realized, a couple of things. Our very first investor was Tom Lee, the founder of One Medical. We were going to do something very similar to Tom, which is, okay, we're going to launch these beautiful brick and mortar clinics that are going to be, beautiful branding. We're going to hire the best orthodontists. We're going to provide the best services. We're going to provide tech-enabled services to eliminate, all the unnecessary in-person patient visits, to provide the real hybrid model. We realized really quickly that there was 3 big problems with that. First, CapEx is really expensive to build out a nice clinic. And we didn't want to just raise money to like pour it into brick and mortar locations because we realized there was an alternative later. 2, customer acquisition costs were insanely expensive when you're competing against these companies that are saying you don't need a professional and they're 3 times cheaper than what we were advertising. And then 3, the problem that money can't buy is orthodontists as individuals. They become orthodontists. They go through all this not to be employed, but to be small business owners. They want to be independent and make private practice money. So after that learning, we pivoted. And we are now a tech-enabled services platform where we basically give orthodontists one free tool to go into dental offices near them. Someone recently called us Dental Tinder. We match orthodontists with the top dental practices near them, and we basically serve as their management arm. So they use our tool. We give them a team, a treatment coordinator to actually talk to their patients, and a dental assistant. They have a whole back office team, a marketing team, a back office coordinator, and then obviously our tech platform to actually have this one tool to treat all their patients from booking all the way to their retainers and their virtual visits in between. And we give them the ability to make private practice money and deliver that incredible patient experience. So these patients of these dental offices, they go in once a month and we handle the rest. Dentists are able to offer patients this incredible expert-led service instead of just treating a couple of Invisalign patients, on their own, or the limited cases. And patients are getting what they want, which is expert-led care right from their dentist with the most modern patient experience, 90% virtual visits and affordable payment plans.
Wow. I hope everyone understood what you just said, because I was listening and I get it. And I think it's pretty remarkable what you've done. So you have solved the problem for the patient and for the orthodontist, where, you got an orthodontist who's already in debt, huge debt, and they probably don't have enough capital to really grow the business. Your tool is essentially allowing them to rest on your back, so to speak, and provide the same level of service as if they were been able to provide maybe years and years later after additional heartache and pain. Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And I'm sure as you experienced from Smile Direct Club, even though you didn't get results, there was something to the customer service, right? Like, I'm sure you were able to call a customer service rep whenever you want. You got these beautiful aligners in a box. Like so even though the aligners themselves weren't working because you weren't being seen by an orthodontist and they weren't using Invisalign, which is the best tool to move teeth, there is a need for that level of customer service and hospitality that we need to bring to the orthodontic industry to give people what they want, to give patients what they want.
Yeah, it's funny with it's just talking about. With Smile Direct, I actually for the most part, I don't really have anything negative to say about them. It's just it just didn't work for me. In fact, they redid it, and by the way, I'm 99% sure. I wish I had it with me that there was a dentist tied to it, but maybe that's because of a later date, or maybe because I know that they've definitely had some regulatory issues. But so I don't have anything really. Yeah, their customer service is actually pretty good, and I felt like their platform was pretty. In fact, I remember I was on with what I thought was a dentist, and she's like, "Hey, I'm going to do a video call with you right now." And I was like, all right, cool. And she took pictures of my mouth or whatever. So for the most part, from a tech standpoint, I thought that they were, pretty good, and their customer service answers. And at the end of the day, I just don't think the way my teeth were, I just don't think a million years of Smile Direct would have worked. In fact, when I went to the orthodontist, she agreed. She said, yeah, there's just no way, you needed to come to me. So.
Today's episode is brought to you in part by Wicked Happy. The way you live your life depends on your outlook, and theirs is simple. Be wicked happy. Wicked Happy provides you with apparel to make you smile. So if you want to be wicked happy and you want to look wicked cool, then visit wickedhappy.com, and at checkout, enter in the code RADIO for an additional 15% off your entire order. Again, visit wickedhappy.com, apparel to make you smile.
So listen, so if people are listening right now, I know that you were really kind of also focusing on teenagers and kids. But if they're listening right now and they're not in the LA area, or they are let's start with not in the LA area. They're looking for a way to improve their teeth as far as the straightness of them and the way they look. What would you suggest to people as far as what sort of research should they do? I mean, should they go to my2front.com or where do people turn to?
Yeah, good question. So first of all, we actually partner orthodontists with dental offices. So actually not pediatrics. So we really target, adults, because it's adults who, just like you, go through rounds of braces and their teeth move because teeth actually move for your whole life. And so if you're not wearing a retainer, your teeth are going to move. Most people go through 3 rounds of orthodontics nowadays in their lifetime, just like you. If they are not in LA, I recommend going to an orthodontist who specializes in Invisalign. So I would just honestly call the best orthodontist near them. You can typically figure it out online by reviews, by seeing before and afters. Orthodontics is highly cosmetic, just like plastic surgery. And so orthodontists typically show off their cases online. And I would ask, what percentage of their practice do they treat with braces versus Invisalign? Because if they treat a high percentage with Invisalign, they're probably going to be more of experts in Invisalign, and that's how you're going to have your best results.
Now, so are you, I guess, all right, if all things being equal, in other words, if the pricing were the same, which is more effective, Invisalign or braces?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's actually just the tool. So braces is just metal, Invisalign is just plastic. Okay. And so it's kind of like asking what's more effective, like a canvas, like acrylic paint, or wax or something. And it's just a tool. It's all about the expertise that person has in terms of using that tool. So, people have different contrasting opinions on this, and some orthodontists are specialists in Invisalign over braces. And so it actually depends on the provider. We 2Front only work with orthodontists who specialize in Invisalign. Like me, for example, at Harvard, we got really lucky and we got some of the best training in orthodontics, the most modern training, which you don't always get at these old school residencies. I can treat every case with Invisalign better than braces. And given that Invisalign is such a better user experience for patients, no pokey brackets, no shame of having these metal things glued to your teeth. Why would I ever treat someone with braces over Invisalign if I can give the same results? And so it's dependent on the provider. It's just a tool. Think of it as plastic versus metal.
That makes a lot of sense. So what's next for my2front? So you've launched. I mean, you're beyond launching. You have several locations in the LA area. What are some of the next steps for you? What's on the forefront?
Yeah. So our vision, there's about 10,000 orthodontists in the country and 200,000 general dentists in the country. With our model, orthodontists can go into a dental office once a month and treat those patients insanely well. Our vision is to give orthodontists our platform and have every orthodontist in the country on our platform, building their practice, having a better experience and launching their own brick and mortar practice. And treating patients from dental offices, so that the only way to straighten your teeth will be by an orthodontist at your dentist, getting that beautiful patient experience, just like before Airbnb, like you could list your house, on Craigslist, but the experience wasn't great for anyone. There's a lot of liability and insurance issues, and there was not that beautiful experience in customer service. We're giving that digital experience to orthodontists to give patients a great experience from their dental office. So that's really our vision.
I was gonna let you go, but I am gonna let you go a little bit. I know you're busy. Are there any competitors? To what you're doing? I know we have Smile Direct and I know we have Invisalign, but you're doing something different than both of them. Are there other competitors to what you're doing?
There are, yeah. There's a company actually based in DC that has a similar model to us, except they have one orthodontist who doesn't go in person. They just go in, they just do the digital treatment planning for the patients remotely, and then send assistants to the dental offices to deliver those aligners. That's the closest model. We believe that orthodontists need to be involved in the oversight of care. There's also real liability issues. Like, let's say that your teeth start wiggling and you have some periodontal issues, some gum issues. Like you were noticing when you have orthodontic problems, you generally have gum problems.
Right.
And so we like to tie the case directly to the orthodontist, because that's the way it should be. It should be just your patient, in our opinion. And so we have that model where we go in person once a month for all necessary in-person visits. And then the biggest difference I would say is, like, as orthodontists, like, you really want to, your goal in life is to basically build your practice, build your brand, and really develop great relationships and deliver high quality patient care. We're much more focused on the orthodontist and giving them the tools to build virtual practices and build their brands online, as opposed to just providing dental offices with an outsourced orthodontist who's doing the behind the scenes remote treatment planning.
And as far as the end user, the customer, to them, there is no, or I don't know, I'm guessing there isn't, but from a cost perspective, the end user, it doesn't affect them, right?
No, we've really, part of what we're doing is we've really streamlined our costs. That's part of the benefit of, like, building your practice on a platform, is like we're constantly making things more efficient so that we can have the best prices for patients. We're never going to be mail order aligner company prices, but we are very fair doctor prices. And we're really focused on delivering value and hospitality and that incredible experience. Just for perspective, like when I was working in New York, I worked at practices where, at Medicaid focused practices, I was charging $7,000. When I was working in Manhattan, I was charging between $12,000 and $18,000. Like, I'm the same orthodontist and I'm using Invisalign in all these practices. It's like one of these crazy industries where, like, you can charge whatever you want, because the Invisalign lab fee is set. And so depending on your overhead, depending on your location, but we're really providing that price transparency and streamlining costs and making it so that orthodontists can make a living still. Dentists can get compensated for providing their brick and mortar space and their patient base, and patients are getting that streamlined, expert-led care.
You know what? I keep saying I'm gonna let you go, but I'm gonna ask one more question. Insurance, does insurance, or do most insurances, or let me just ask a general question. What's the deal with insurance for this type of procedure? Is it covered? Isn't it covered? And I don't give me it all depends on what type of insurance you have. I don't know. But, like, seriously though, like, does it, for the most part, can insurance cover this type of, can they cover orthodontics?
Yeah. Oh my God. Part of like getting into the business of orthodontics has made me like an expert in insurance. The insurance world is like a wild one. To answer your question, orthodontic insurance works like a rebate. So it's never gonna, it's not like when you go to your medical doctor and you just pay of $40 or whatever. It generally covers like a fifth to a sixth, sometimes a quarter if you're lucky, of your orthodontic treatment. So we take all insurances out of network, which means that essentially instead of you submitting a super bill, we submit the insurance claim for you. You get paid, you get reimbursed directly by your insurance, however your insurance likes to pay you. Now the world of orthodontic insurance is not great. Depending, 60% of the US has Delta Dental. It's 80 million Americans. Depending on who your insurance provider is, they'll either pay you that whole amount upfront within the first month of starting your treatment. They'll pay you every month over a year. They'll pay you every quarter. So, but all I know is that what we do is we make sure that you get reimbursed for whatever orthodontic insurance coverage that you have.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. I get that. Before I let you go, is there anything that we missed or anything that you'd like to relay to let the people listening know about what you're doing at My Two Front?
I think that's it. I'm so passionate about this. When I was in New York, I would see so many patients who would come to me after mail order liner companies, multiple rounds of spending thousands of dollars trying to get these beautiful smiles and healthy smiles. We're super passionate about like delivering patients what they actually want the first time around, getting orthodontists the ability to build their business and giving dentists the tools to actually give their patients the best experience and the best care. So whether you're a dentist, an orthodontist, or a patient, please always feel free to email me, Ingrid@mytwofront.com. Happy to help however I can.
Wow, that's pretty awesome. I mean, because you're building a business, you spend all this time in school, and you're obviously really busy, and just to give out your email like that is pretty remarkable. Again, we've been on with Dr. Ingrid Mirra. What a remarkable person! What she's doing. You hear about companies that are disrupting industries, and her company is 100% disrupting an industry for the benefit of the end user, really, ultimately, but also the orthodontist as well. And so what she's doing again is remarkable, and it's going to be really interesting to continue to see your growth. So congratulations on your success. Again, if you'd like some more information about Dr. Ingrid Murra, you can go to mytwofront.com. What's your email address again?
It's Ingrid, INGRID @mytwofront, all spelled out, .com.
Perfect. Again, so if you want to reach out to her and ask her some questions, and she said she's going to answer you. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I feel like she's pretty busy. But that's pretty awesome that you're going to do that and give out your email address. So again, thank you so much for your time. Your story is awesome. What you're doing is cool. And I just, I obviously really appreciate it because of what I've gone through as well. So thank you again for everything that you're doing. And my name is Mike Alden. That's Dr. Ingrid Mirra, and we'll see you soon.
Today's episode is brought to you in part by Wicked Happy. The way you live your life depends on your outlook, and theirs is simple. Be wicked happy. Wicked Happy provides you with apparel to make you smile. So if you want to be wicked happy and you want to look wicked cool, then visit wickedhappy.com, and at checkout, enter in the code RADIO for an additional 15% off your entire order. Again, visit wickedhappy.com, apparel to make you smile.